Well, of course, it was really important to us for all of our Declaration movies, but especially here in the beginning, to make sure that our hero character is a true American man, that he's possesses the virtues of masculinity and authority and a personal ethic, and that he isn't some emasculated yes dear bumbling oaf, who basically exists to be the comic foil to the will of the children, the unruly children.
And capable. I mean, I feel like so many of the heroes are really anti-heroes in the films we watch. They're really foils for the bad guys, and most of the things they do fail.
Yeah, that's right.
And this guy's got a plan, and he, if things don't go his way, he keeps reacting, responding, and he's very capable in those moments.
At the same time, one of the things that I really like about the script is that nothing happens in the way that you want it to, or in the sort of cliched storytelling way. I mean, when a character in this movie pulls the trigger, including our hero, bad things happen, and almost never what they had hoped would happen. In other words, even Weatherford, with his expertise and his training, he still isn't some sort of mythic superhero. He's responding to problems as they arise. It's a dynamic situation. Worse things happen. He has to respond to those worst things. He's not, nobody's getting 4,000 rounds of fully automatic fire and diving behind aluminum cans that somehow stop the bullet from.
Of course they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, if you're looking at masculinity, if you don't let in the real world and the real sort of the fallout of physical violence and stuff, you're not acknowledging the reality of how tough it is to be a man in the real world. And I think that by a lot of these things not going the way as they're planned, we see how a man responds and how you have to constantly adapt and overcome the sort of obstacles that I think he faces.
Right. And provide for your family and protect your family and protect your way of life.
Yeah, I don't know if masculinity exists in an ideal world. I mean, it's part of masculinity is the struggle, and I think we try to show that struggle. I think we've done pretty well at it.
Well, one of the things that we worked really hard on in the script is to make sure that there's an authenticity, a sense of authenticity to everything that happens. That the people drive the kind of cars they would drive, they talk the way that they would speak, and they carry the kind of weapons that they would carry. I mean, Weatherford, just as an example, I mean, he doesn't have RPGs and can't call in airstrikes. He's using his breech brake shotgun that he's probably been shooting quail with his entire life, or his deer hunting rifle. He's using the tools at hand.
Well, and the tools that a lot of Americans have in their own homes and use to survive. I mean, use to get food with and hunt with their friends with and protect themselves and their homes with. I think it's fun. We've got the boy, the 12-year-old boy, has his quail gun, and he's
well, that was important.
At some point, he's got to use it, doesn't he?
That was important to me. I didn't want the boy to have to get his dad's gun when it came time to defend himself. The boy living on the border, or even you and I growing up, we had our own guns.
Absolutely.
And our Jimmy character has his own Remington 870 shotgun that, when push comes to shove, he knows what to do with it. Which I don't want to spoil the movie. I mean, we don't have. One thing we wanted to avoid was 12-year-olds doing things that 12-year-olds can't actually do. But so it's very realistic, but it's also realistic that he would have his own weapon, and he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, we tried to do some research into what some of the coyotes and some of the cartels, the guns, the weapons they use. Yeah. And we integrated them into the script. At one point, actually, we have Weatherford have to take up one of them and use it himself, right?
Yeah, it was painful to have our American hero man having to use an AK-47. Right. The gun of the enemy is
really the
Bill
iconic.
Whittle likes to say, but
absolutely.
But that's what's available. He picks up what's on the ground, and he's able to function and able to adapt. And
that's what you do.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think that from the beginning we've envisioned this as a Western. It's a modern Western. And
it's not a Western if you don't have a Winchester rifle.
Yeah, you don't have a revolver, you don't have a Winchester rifle, absolutely.
That's right.
You don't have a Western. So we had to, and I think it's believable that's exactly what people would prefer.
Those are the guns that settled the West, and they're still in use to this day. I mean, growing up, everybody has a Winchester 30-30, and everybody has a revolver. Maybe not every cop on the street carries a Colt a Colt revolver, but they should, and Weatherford does. So it kind of ties that past, I think, to the present in the script, and really helps people feel not only a sense of authenticity, but also a sense of nostalgia and a connection to a time when you saw Americans carrying guns without shame, and the guns they were carrying were Winchesters and Colts, by God.
Well, and there's a line that in the script where the border is referred to as the frontier.
Yeah.
And that, America's always been defined as the frontier. And like you're saying, those two weapons in particular bring us back to the frontier.
That's right.
Period of late 19th century. And I think that absolutely.
Well, that's something interesting too that you just hit upon.
The frontier.
It is about the frontier, and the weapons are important, of course, but the land is the most important thing in the whole script. I think that it's interesting that the frontier, classically in America, the frontier is the new place where you go. But now the frontier is the place that seems to be coming to us. As civilization has moved west, and now a certain lack of civilization is moving north, not because of the race of the people who are crossing the border, but because of the lawlessness of the cartels and the lawlessness of the people, maybe not the day-to-day people moving north, but the people who are governing that, the people who are overseeing it and profiting off of it. And I think that this idea of an encroaching frontier is
exactly
critical to the story.
When Weatherford is in a sense, at one moment in particular, when he's sort of purifying the Arroyo, he has to sort of reclaim his own land. I mean, he's going back out and reclaiming land. He goes and reclaims the land of the neighbor with the deer stand and all that. And it's really like we're having to go back out and explore the land and set our stake down.
Our approach is basically to say that our main character is having to fight two battles: one against the cartels, not the migrants moving across, but the cartels that are driving them, bringing the drugs and the arms across, but also a war, frankly, against his own government,